she was born in my town. You didn't know that we was new on the scene. It's alright. I know you know I see you smiling at me. It's alright. Here comes the ready or not. Here comes the boys from the south. Here comes the ready or not. How you like me now? I say we rep the south. So what you talking about?
Whether you love him or you hate him, Antonio Brown is a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. The Bucs made it official today. They reached a one-year agreement with wide receiver Antonio Brown. His suspension is up after Week 8. So if he passes all of his physicals, he will be ready to play with the Bucs Week 9 against the New Orleans Saints. Welcome back to the Cannon Fire Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Rhett Matthew. It's a very special edition of the Cannon Fire Hotline show right here live on YouTube. We'll be taking your calls over the next hour or so, talking about some breaking news from the Buccaneers. And of course, I am not alone. Joined with me to discuss this breaking news, the Philly Bucs fan himself, Mr. Evan Wanish. Evan, Antonio Brown, a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. What do you make of this?
So this is like seems like a common occurrence now with the Bucs. Just like you talk about these things, and then you talk about them. Say it's not going to happen. Talk about them some more. Say it's not going to happen. Then it finally dies down, and then just within an instant, you hear a rumor, and then that rumor becomes a reality within an hour. So if that sounded familiar, that's exactly what happened with Rob Gronkowski. And that's exactly what just happened with Antonio Brown. So, somebody asked me, they were like, are you shocked? And I was like, honestly, no. Did I expect it? Absolutely not. But I'm not shocked at this. I'm really not. We'll get into it, but I don't know if it's really necessary for this move to happen. But, the Gronk move really wasn't necessary either, but it happened. But this is the world we're living in, and it's going to be interesting no matter what. It's whether it's good or bad, it'll make for some interesting entertainment, I think.
And one thing was made clear after this move, it's that Bruce Arians and Tom Brady won a ring, and they want it now. This is the year. It is Super Bowl or bust at this point. We talked about, there's going to be an adjustment period, and even if the Bucs don't make the deep run they want to this year, there's always next year. Well, no, with a signing like this, all the chips are definitely being cashed as we speak. The Buccaneers have their sights set on a championship run, and it makes sense. It's what you brought Brady here to do, but it's the identity that this Tampa Bay team has made for themselves, especially at this point in the season. Really quickly, I got some people in the live chat booming. Craziness, never believe Bruce Arians. Yeah, really. Hey, Rhett, what's going on, dude? With Evans and Godwin clearly not 100%, or even at 60%, they had to make the move. We'll talk about that here in a second. You called it Buck Skull Gang. I didn't forget. Yeah, he called it because I think Evan and I were pretty damn sure this wasn't going to happen. And I guess I've got to eat crow because there was a report that Brady was pounding the table for Antonio Brown to come to Tampa. I kind of dismissed it. I think a lot of other people dismissed it as well. And that report ended up being true. But, regardless of who got it first, Antonio Brown is here. And I'll just speak my 2 cents. I'll be honest. I'm not a huge fan of the move. As Evan said, it seems a little unnecessary. I can understand the idea, with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin not necessarily both being at 100% right now. Mike Evans is kind of battling a little bit of injury. Chris Godwin's still kind of fresh off. So, I get it, but it really is just one of those moves that seems like it could potentially do more harm than good. And if AB can know his role, not be an ass in the locker room, and just go out there and do what he can to help this team win a championship at this point, then I don't have a problem with it. A lot of the people, you and I talked about this, but a lot of the people who are, talking about how much they don't like this move are going to be cheering once he catches his first touchdown. So is it a move that felt unnecessary to me? Absolutely. But with the identity that the Bucs have made of themselves this year, no, it's not, a surprising move. It's shocking, no doubt, but it's not crazy to think that, they're going to go out and make a move like that because they've done it so far this season. But, it's just all I can say is Super Bowl or bust. Super Bowl or bust at this point is really all there is to it.
I mean, Tom Brady has to be one of the happiest guys on earth right now. I mean, he's got to be on cloud nine. This organization has given him everything he's wanted so far, and I mean, whatever he wants, he gets. And it seemed like those conversations, and we even said like those conversations actually, yeah, they were happening. There were conversations about Antonio Brown earlier in the offseason, and the Bucs decided against it. Maybe now that we see the situation, maybe that's because they pretty much knew that like he's going to get suspended anyway. So like, why sign him at that point? And it seemed like now Brady prevailed. There was another conversation, and Brady got what he wanted. So I mean, there's really, to me, this puts more pressure on Tom Brady to perform because now. And not many people are talking about this, but now the Bucs can go, all right, Tom, you go out and do it then. Go out and win a championship because we gave you wanted Gronkowski, we gave you Gronkowski. You wanted Antonio Brown, we gave you Antonio Brown. You wanted a good defense, there's a good defense here. I mean, there's really no excuse now for Tom Brady not to go out and just play well. And that's not to say he hasn't played well. I think he has, but I just don't think there's much of an excuse now. So we'll see Brown's role early on. I don't know how much it'll be. But, I mean, those two, Brady Brown was in New England for like 10 days, and Brady is just in love with this guy.
There was a report that came out that, after practice one day, they had to come out and ask Tom to stop throwing deep to AB because they were just connecting so well, and he was so impactful and apparently, took over the entire Patriots practice. And, I think the role that he had in New England compared to here is obviously much, much different. Two way different situations. He was playing with a junior varsity high school squad of receivers, aside from maybe Julian Edelman, except for his size up there in New England. And down here, he's got to compete and he's got to share targets with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. You've seen some up and coming guys that Brady really likes to use, and that's Scotty Miller as well. So with already an offense just flooded with weapons, him finding his role is going to be somewhat interesting to watch. But as long as he doesn't create too much of a fuss, and damn it, if he can return some punts for us, then it should end up being a good thing. But of course, that's if everything goes according to plan.
Yeah, I don't know. Not many people are concerned. Nobody's talking about his on-field stuff. We all know what he can do on the field. You know it. You can't deny it. Right, he's a good football player. He's a great football player. That was never in question when he was with Pittsburgh, when he was traded to Oakland, when he signed with New England. That was never in question. His ability to play football was never in question. What is in question is obviously the things that come off of it, and the things that, quite frankly, we don't know a lot about. We'll never know what exactly goes on inside a locker room. Antonio Brown was in New England for 10 days, and then they released him after that first game in Miami. There was no reports of Antonio Brown causing trouble in New England. There was no reports of him disrupting that locker room, but something may have happened that Bill Belichick didn't love, and then obviously, now he had those allegations, and the cops were at his house, and I mean, this is just it is what it is, and I think the Bucs right now look at Antonio Brown as a guy who can come in, and if he's back, I mean, that has to be one of the best wide receiver trios of all time. I mean, that's, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown. That is a quarterback's dream and a defensive coordinator's nightmare. If this guy's back and he can just, I'm not saying you even have to be a rah-rah guy or be a leader. Just sit back and just be quiet. Just sit back and be quiet. If he can do that and get back to, maybe even half of what he was in Pittsburgh, I mean, this offense is going to be, you're going to be almost guaranteed 30 points a game with this offense. It's almost going to be a guarantee. So it's definitely, I think, a boomer bust, but I think people are overreacting a little bit to the bust thing, because as soon as I think Bruce didn't really want him. And I think Bruce and Tom sort of like, I don't have a source on this, but I think Bruce or Tom may have like agreed, and Tom may have convinced him to say like, look, if AB is not great in the locker room and it doesn't seem like it's going to work, you can cut him. So guess what? Week 9 versus New Orleans, he's going to make his debut most likely. If the Bucs don't like how he's been behaving in the locker room in his week there, they may cut him. I don't think that this isn't something that's going to derail their season.
Yeah, and it's pretty important to remember that not only what you brought up is the aspect that, the Bucs, honestly don't need him. I hate to say it so harshly, but the Bucs are in a position where if you don't have Antonio Brown, it's not going to ruin the season that they've set up for themselves thus far, and hopefully the expectations they still have. But for Antonio Brown, he's also got to know that, a lot of people say, oh, teams never learn. Look at the Bucs signing Antonio Brown after everything. Listen, between you and me, and I'm sure Antonio Brown feels this way as well. I know he's got plenty of people in his ear telling him the exact same thing, but this is his last chance. Like, this is,
exactly.
If for whatever reason, Tampa playing the way that they're playing, Tom Brady is, I don't want to say the leader of the locker room, but a Tom Brady locker room. Bruce Arians, between Brady and Arians, I have to believe they're going to hold him, under wraps. But if he causes any problems and he's out of here, then that's it. Like, there really doesn't seem like there's going to be another chance for this guy. I don't know the full details of the deal, but it's somewhere around the vet minimum. Am I correct?
Full details have not yet been released, but I don't know if they can be released until it's actually signed. But he has agreed to terms. It's likely to be close to a vet minimum deal, and apparently there's going to be, per Ian Rappaport, there's going to be some strong incentives in there. So maybe, I think it might be mostly, I don't know how much individual performance it'll be. Maybe it'll be like win a playoff game, get an extra $500K.
Right.
Go to the NFC Championship game, get an extra $600K. Win the Super Bowl, get an extra $700K, something like that. Catch 5 touchdowns, get an extra, $100K, something like that. It won't be too lofty. I mean, the Bucs realize, like, you gotta realize what this is. He's coming in. He's gonna play Week 9. Like, the season's halfway over at that point, and then you're gearing him up for a playoff run. So, I mean, that's his value right there. And I think, a lot of people, I think the issue people have with it is his past. And is he the best person in the world? No. Like, I don't think he's a good person. I don't. And do you want that in a football team? Probably not. Man, I can't. I'm not going to sit here and defend what he's done in the past, because you can't defend it. As a decent human being, I'm not going to do that. But, at the end of the day, your hope is that he can just play 8 or 9 games and just sit back and be quiet and not disturb and just help this football team. Even if you're not going off on a Pro Bowl pace and you're not getting, 100 yards every game and a touchdown here and there, just don't wreck things. And I don't really think he could wreck the locker room, because it is a strong Tampa Bay locker room. I think all these guys really believe in each other. I think they're strong leadership. So I don't think he'll completely wreck a locker room by himself, but I think there's definitely some downside. But I do think that fans' biggest holdup maybe isn't even what he's done this year. It's his whole 2019, just because it was just so much more than football, and things that were bigger than football, and things that were just, as a human being, just horrible accusations and actions by him. But I mean, they've dealt with some guys with some issues in the past, Deshaun Jackson, Keyshawn Johnson. So I mean, they have dealt with those type of guys, but it's a whole new animal. So it's going to be interesting to see. And we'll just see how it turns out. Also, a little side note, because I think maybe some people are curious about this. I don't know what number Antonio Brown is going to wear.
It's not going to be 84.
84 is taken by Cameron Brate, and 17, which what he wore in New England, is taken by Justin Watson. So I don't picture either of them losing their number. I mean, if Antonio Brown really wants 84 or 17, he can gladly pay one of those guys. But I don't see that happening. So just a little fun side note there. I don't know. I guess maybe 16. I think that's available. So it's close to 17. I don't know.
Do we have?
We'll see what happens.
Do we have an 81?
No, he could be 81. He could be 83, I think.
Yeah, I'm thinking
83.
I'm thinking it's either something in the 80s or obviously in the teens. I guess that's really what the wide receivers have their choice of, anyways.
Yeah.
But
That's what it is, yeah.
But yeah, man, it just an incredible move by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You know, the tone has been set, and it's the identity that this team has. They're gonna go with the big signing. They're gonna go with the proven veteran, and you know, they're not going to gamble on a guy like Tyler Johnson this year because I don't think that's what Brady wants to do. Brady's been apparently pounding the table for Antonio Brown, and he's got the team that he has wanted since day one. So,
yep, this is on Brady now. This is, you know, if I mean, I'm sure Brady was trying to convince Arians to basically say, like, look, I can keep him in check. Like, I can do this, right? He's probably saying, like, we have a strong locker room. Like, let me do this. Fine. It's on you now, though, Tom. It's you gotta if you truly were saying that to Bruce Arians, and that's how you convinced him, because Bruce Arians, I believe, he really didn't want Antonio Brown. He really did not. It's not like he just snapped his fingers and then, like, when he said it's not going to happen back in March, I truly believe he believed that. He did not think that Antonio Brown was going to happen. And then what ended up happening was obviously the Bucs receivers kind of got hurt. Bucs depth of wide receiver was and then this ends up happening. But Tom Brady had to convince Bruce Arians somehow. And now, if Antonio Brown screws up, Bruce Arians is going to be going to Tom and saying, "What was that? You couldn't reel him in." So now, you know, that whole experiment was wasted, and that's on Tom. So now Tom got what he wanted, and it's on him. It's on Antonio Brown. It's on Rob Gronkowski. It's on Mike Evans. It's on Chris Godwin. They all got to produce. You know, they really do. It's going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds. I believe he can't enter the facility until after week 8. So I believe he can take his COVID test. I believe he can still do that. He can still sign a contract, but he cannot enter the facility until after week 8. So when you're on suspension, you're not allowed to be at the facility. So that they play Monday night versus New York. That Tuesday he'll be allowed back in, and they play Sunday night versus New Orleans. So we'll see what happens. It's makes for some great content though.
Yeah, damn straight. And one more thing I want to mention before we let you go here. You know, firstly, the first of two things I want to mention. Firstly, I just want to reiterate that, you know, Antonio Brown has more to lose than the Bucs at this point if they have to let him go.
Absolutely. Yep.
So, you know,
just like you said, he's done. If he messes up here, he's done. If he does well here and the Bucs win a few playoff games, you could be talking about maybe you re-sign with Tampa at a low cost maybe, but a little bit of a higher deal, or maybe you sign with somebody else. But if you screw up here, you're done. And then the other thing as well, you know, I'm excited to see him return punts. If that's something that they're going to have him do, which I think is likely, I'd love to see it. I think he's got a lot more talent and much more experience back there than Jadon Mickens. But, you know, something somebody mentioned in the live chat, and I just wanted to bring it up as well. Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, yes, they are both studs, but I think this season, from what we've seen, they're both somewhat battling injury, and I think even last week against Green Bay, they both weren't 100% healthy. So a move like this is, you know, I guess smart in the depth position. You know, I trust a guy like Antonio Brown to step up a little bit more than maybe a Scotty Miller or a Tyler Johnson in the absence of one of those two top wide receivers. But yeah, you know, as a depth piece and for the deal that they got him at, because it seemed like you did have other teams interested. I'm glad they were able to nab him before, you know, Green Bay and Seattle were able to get there. But I will say that, yes, there are pros and cons. Me personally, not a huge fan of it. It is what it is. Love it or hate it, he's here. But there are some pros and, you know, there are some good things too. So I wanted to just kind of cover those before you bounced. Yeah, I mean, Chris Godwin even said himself he's not 100%. So, yeah, I think that definitely factored into it. We both know that Mike Evans isn't 100%. But I think he's sort of playing through that ankle. But, yeah, it's definitely a move that I didn't expect. Like I said, I wasn't shocked, but I just don't know. It's just not necessary. Like, I mean, if you're paying this guy any more than like $1 million or like $1.5 million or something, like that's just a waste. Then, like, I mean, and I honestly, do I think they're done? I don't know if they're done. I don't know, because this signals to me that they truly believe they have a team this year, and I think the Saints' struggles have really propelled this, because I think they looked at this season coming in and said, man, the Saints are going to be a powerhouse. They're probably going to have maybe one or no losses by the time they play us week 9, and it may be tough for us to catch up to them. But now that they see New Orleans struggling, I think they see the opportunity to take the NFC South. I really do. And I think that, I'm not saying they're going to go out and do this, but wouldn't surprise me if they would make a trade deadline acquisition first, maybe some depth at outside linebacker or pass rusher, or, you know, more interior defensive linemen, possibly. But yeah, it would not surprise me if they did. Greg Allman brought up Marcus Golden, and obviously 6 hours later, Golden was traded back to the Cardinals for a 6th-round pick. I would have done that.
Oh, they got fleeced.
But whatever. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what the Bucs are hoping to do to somebody. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if they're done. That's all I would say. But yeah, it's thanks for, you know, keeping the phone line open for me, and now we'll be able to get to some other people's calls, and yeah, we'll be back on Monday for the review show, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this all unfolds.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is 2020. This is Tampa Bay sports in 2020, and at this point, we just have to buckle up and be ready to go along for the ride. My co-host, Evan Wanish, calling into the CF Hotline show. Appreciate you calling in, and of course, getting your great insight as always. Evan, I'm going to let you go, but have a great night, my friend.
All right, yep, you too, buddy.
See ya. Mr. Too Legit to Quit. With that being said, phone lines are open here on the CF Hotline, 813-433-0323. There it is. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
How we doing? It's Rocco from Boston.
Oh, Rocco, I've been looking forward to this phone call. How you doing, my friend?
How we doing, brother?
I'm hanging in there. I'm doing the best I can. I've been, I'll be honest with you, I've been kind of split the past hour and a half, almost 2 hours, because I'm just weighing out the pros and cons in my head. And, I just talked with Evan, but I'm doing the best I can. I'll leave it at that.
Yep, me too, man. Definitely a very 50-50 split situation. Everyone's up in the air and confused, but I think everyone's excited. It brings a lot of excitement back to the season. You know what I mean? Oh,
absolutely. I think it gets even more people invested, and whether people like the move or not, from a football standpoint, from a business standpoint, and simply from people talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, love it or hate it, they're going to be front page news for the next 2 weeks again. So yeah, it is what it is. We just got to roll with the punches. Like I was saying, man, this is 2020 Tampa Bay sports, baby.
I know, crazy. Would never imagine this last year. No way. Gronk, AB, Brady, would never have imagined this.
So what's going on? What's on your mind, my man?
I got some stuff. So I know someone. I'm not going to release too much information, and I'm not going to lie to anyone here. He's very, very minimally involved in the organization, but I just wanted to talk about the things that went on behind the scenes that I've heard in terms of all of the AB signing. So what I've heard is a lot of things that we already know. Bruce really was, like you guys said earlier, he was not even slightly invested in signing an Antonio Brown at all. But what happened was, and I think we talked about this off the air, they kind of came to the realization that if Seattle or the Packers or New Orleans get their hands on AB, we have a problem. So they took advantage of that, and they made sure that they put an end to that. And they basically used Tom Brady, who obviously wanted Antonio Brown. They basically used that as the bait. AB, listen, you can come here. We'll take care of you. We'll give you a chance at reclaiming your fame and getting back to the top. But it's going to be on a low contract, and if anything goes wrong, you're gone. And as you guys said earlier, it's probably his last shot. So
I think it's definitely the most believable theory. And I only say theory because, you're going to get torn apart in the chat room for coming in here and having an unnamed source, but I respect you for doing it. And Rocco, you're a buddy of mine,
100%.
so you're all good, man. But I think it is, I think it's a situation that makes the most sense. Like, I really don't think you have to be an insider on the organization and really know all of the bells and whistles that were needed to make this happen. But I think the situation plays out just like this. And as you mentioned, I don't think Bruce was going for it. I don't think he was hot. I think it took Brady to talk him into it. And I think they compromised. And I'll be honest, like I said at the beginning of this show, I have to eat crow because there was a guy on Tampa Sports Radio 2 days ago saying that Brady's pounding the table for Antonio Brown. And I was like, there's no goddamn way that Brady is pounding the table. And of course, we know that it comes out to be true. But like I've said before, and like I'll say again, Antonio Brown has more to lose than the Bucs at this point. So, it doesn't seem shocking to me that Bruce wasn't going for it. This is a Tom Brady give us a ring type move. And yeah, that's just the identity that the Bucs have sealed for themselves even further this season.
For sure. All right, on to the second thing. This isn't a rumor or anything like that. This is more of just a take. So, as we established earlier, Mike and Chris have both been, relatively injured. Mike hasn't been producing the way that we're used to. We're used to Mike having almost at least 500 yards at this point in the season, on pace for 1,200 or 1,000 to around 1,200 at some point in the season. He's nowhere even close to being on track for that. So I was thinking maybe this offense isn't what Bruce expected when he said that we wouldn't sign AB. And a second opinion was maybe Bruce came to the realization this offense is getting somewhat stale and we needed the signing.
I think it might be too soon to say something like, the offense is getting stale, because we do have to look at it this way. You were missing Chris Godwin for a good couple of games, and I think Mike Evans up until this point is still kind of nagging with that ankle injury. I don't even know if so much it's, this offense isn't what Bruce expected at this point. I think it's just they're working with what they have. And when you look at, wide receiver depth, there isn't really anybody better you could have gone out and gotten than Antonio Brown, at least when it comes from a rolling the dice standpoint. But, I don't know if it's so much Bruce just not having faith in the offense. I think it was they took advantage of a good situation when they saw it. And I think, like you had said a little bit earlier, I think a lot of it was about getting ahead of those other NFC teams who were, I hate to say it, not playing a little bit better than the Bucs right now. But look at Seattle. That's the last place you wanted to see Antonio Brown go, Green Bay, you would have hated to see him go there. And then, of course, New Orleans, while they have been struggling, Michael Thomas not going to play this Sunday. I think that's another likely destination that we both just brought up. But I think it's a combination of wanting to get out ahead of those other teams. And you know what? We got some injured guys. We're signing people when we say we're going to sign them this season. So why the hell not? Let's roll the dice. Let's fire the cannons and let's win a goddamn championship.
Damn straight. I love it.
All right, my man. Rocco, I appreciate you calling in fresh out of Boston, brother. Any last words before I let you go?
Yeah, I was just going to say Mike does look still a little beat up. I'm hoping that this doesn't last much longer,
I don't think so. He's a tough guy, and I think he'll be able to play through it. And, I mean, having AB on the field definitely makes his job a little bit easier. While he's not exactly on pace to get his 1,000 yards, I still think he gets it, to be honest with you. I think his time will come.
Let's have hope.
We just kind of have to see how the second half of the season plays out. But Rocco, I appreciate you calling in, my man, and listening from all the way up there in Boston. And we will talk to you soon.
Congrats to you and Evan, by the way, on partnering with Believe.
Oh, I appreciate it a lot, man. Thank you so much. We're really excited about that, and definitely have some cool stuff in the works. So looking forward to it.
See you later, brother.
All right, see you. Go Bucks. 813-433-0323. Phone lines are open. We only have one phone line, so the phone line is open. But our good buddy Rocco from Boston calling in, and I won't throw it out there, but what he did mention at the beginning about the Glazers, I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. Call from the 813. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Hey, this is Adam, and I'm from Tampa.
Adam from Tampa. What's going on, my man? How you doing?
Pretty good.
What's on your mind?
Man, this signing just came out of nowhere, in my opinion.
Yeah, it definitely did. Evan brought it up, but similar to the Gronk signing, it was like the rumor started, and then an hour later, boom. So it
Yeah,
definitely was one of those things that they did a pretty good job of keeping under wraps, but it just kind of begs the question. Maybe Tom and AB have been texting back and forth for a couple weeks trying to figure this out. You don't know how long Tom's been asking about it inside one Buck, but it definitely seemed like it happened pretty damn fast.
yeah. My question that I really have is, what does this mean for Scotty Miller and rookie Tyler Johnson?
It kind of sucks because I worry more about Tyler Johnson than I do Scotty Miller. I still think Scotty's going to be your main deep target guy. And look, maybe AB can do it once he gets his feet wet and he starts getting a little bit more comfortable in the offense. But I still think Scotty's going to get his targets. I know Tom Brady loves him some Scooter, but Tyler Johnson, it's a shame because the sample size we got from him this year was definitely promising for a rookie. And, Bucks are just, they are putting developing young talent on the back burner this year because, as I've said so many times, the identity that they have gotten for themselves is they're going to go out and they're going to sign the veteran and they're going to do whatever they can, whoever it is, to just try their best to bring a ring to Tampa Bay. Like that, after this Antonio Brown signing, that has to be the expectation. There is no more, let's make a deep playoff run. Let's get to the playoffs for the first time in however many years. I think playoffs have to be an afterthought by now. As much as I hate to say it, the Bucks are a team that haven't been to the playoffs in 10 plus years, but the expectation has to be Super Bowl or bust. And at this rate, I don't know if this locker room is ready to accept anything less. So they are putting all the chips in the pile for this year being the year, not even looking at next year. Brady's still on contract to be in Tampa next year. And there's a lot of one-year guys that you're going to have to evaluate. Even Chris Godwin's going to be a free agent after this season. So let's say Antonio Brown lives up to expectations. He goes above and beyond, and the Bucks are looking to sign him at a new deal. Well, then you might be in a situation where you got to choose between Chris Godwin and AB. So when it comes to your original question, I'm not so much worried about Scotty Miller, but Tyler Johnson I'm definitely upset about. But I don't think Tyler Johnson's going to go anywhere after this season. I just don't think he's going to see that many targets unless you see some injuries or some interesting lineup changes later on this year.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, my man, do you have anything else you want to talk about, or you all good?
I'll let the line open up so someone else can get in here and talk about something.
All right, Adam, I appreciate you calling in, man, repping the 813, and look forward to hearing from you again soon. Go Bucks, man.
For sure.
Adam from Tampa, thanks for calling in, my friend. Check out the live chat really quick before somebody else calls in. This helps Mike and Godwin and Scotty, in a way, I guess. AB is the best wide receiver on the roster, and Tom loves the way he runs routes. I'll leave that one open to interpretation. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
What's going on, man? Shane from Houston. How's it going, man?
Doing pretty good. How you doing, boss?
Doing all right, man. So look, man, I'm a Patriots fan through and through. I've been watching the Patriots for 23 years, man, and I can't be happier for y'all down in Tampa, man. The joy that Tom Brady and his what he brings from him with New England to that team it makes me happy to see another team like y'all. It's been so long since y'all had a championship and a playoff run. It's great to see that finally another team is getting a chance to do that. But, man, let's talk about this offense really quickly, man. I've been watching football for 23 years. I've seen the 98 Vikings, 98 to 2000 Rams, and up to 2007 before Tom Brady got Randy Moss. I thought that the 98 Vikings were the greatest offense I've ever seen with Chris Carter and Randy Moss. And then Randy Moss goes to Brady in 07, and he takes the top off that defense, and the Wes Walker's underneath catching those small, intermediate-sized passes and routes. I thought, okay, that's the greatest offense of all time. And then Peyton goes to Denver, and in 13, he has an amazing year where the 55 touchdowns. I'm not saying that wide receiver core wasn't great or anything, but it was nothing like, it's nothing like the 07 Patriots. And then, in 15, not 15, but in 18 and 19 last year with the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chiefs are amazing offense. And just now, man, it's insane the amount of talent that the Buccaneers have on offense. The amount of just the sheer football prowess on the offense is enough to absolutely just blow anybody out of the water on defense. I don't know if there's another team out there with the secondary that can keep up with the route running, the foot techniques, the speed, the explosiveness, the size too, the sheer size of your team's offensive, just receivers and tight ends. I don't know if there's another team out there that has the corners and safeties and linebackers to keep up with them. And, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it because as a Patriots fan, I don't have anything else to root for this year. It's y'all, the Chiefs, the Titans, and everybody else. It's three people, and that's it, man. Three teams, that's it.
I'd love to think so, man, and I really do appreciate you looking at the Bucs that way. And I'll say this, after 20 years of just watching, there's no other way to say it, after 20 years of watching shitty Bucs football, I'll tell you, one thing that has haunted this team year after year after year is the term on paper. And yeah, we're in week 7 of the NFL, so we kind of know what we're going to see out of the Bucs offense this year. And I think adding a complimentary piece like Antonio Brown definitely has its pros, but if it doesn't go according to plan, and Antonio Brown is a guy who can, hurt this locker room more than help it, I'd hate for that to be the way that, Tom Brady has to kind of, I guess it wouldn't really be Brady's problem, but we talked about him pounding the table, bringing AB here, so I guess at the end of the day it is his problem. But, I would like to see everything go according to plan. And what I'm trying to say is that after watching the Bucs for so long, and all the years that we kind of thought we had it figured out, this year is very different. You've got the greatest quarterback to ever do it. And you have one of the scariest looking offenses that the NFL has probably ever seen, but it's one of those things for me personally, man. Like, I'll believe it when I see it. But if AB turns out, then I seriously hope you're right. I hope the Buccaneers can only pick up the pace from here, and come playoff season, they can be the NFC team to beat. Because I think getting out ahead of Seattle and Green Bay and New Orleans, who were looking at Antonio Brown, getting out ahead of them, signing them, especially as of right now, they're still first place in the NFC South, so they're in a pretty damn good spot to be, and I think they control their own playoff destiny from here. But I just, I hope you're right, is what I'm trying to say, because, as good as they've played so far, there is still time to buck things up, but that's off of past trauma, so I could be way off, and I personally hope that I am, because I'm excited to see this team win some more damn games.
Right, man. Well, look, I got a couple more things I want to say, but let me add this on to you. I don't want to tease you with anything, but if you're ever doing anything in life that you enjoy, and you're just doing it for fun as you get older, you want to keep doing it. And if y'all go to Super Bowl this year and win it, and say y'all go back next year, maybe y'all don't win it, or maybe y'all do win it and y'all repeat back-to-back, there's a chance, and don't hold me to this, but there's a chance Tom Brady goes up to that GM's office, sits down with Arians and your general manager, says, I want an extension. Give me another year. Give me another 2 years. And you may think it's crazy to hear a 46, 47-year-old quarterback in the league, but as long as he keeps his arm strength there, his accuracy, his mind, and he's able to step up in the pocket, like he's done his entire career, and scan the field, and make sure, he throws to the best chance to get the ball to somebody, you may keep Tom Brady more than 2 years. This may be more than a 2-year rental for y'all. I'm not trying to sit there and tease you with anything, but, just think of it. I mean, I'm just saying, man,
You're good. You're good, dude. Listen, if Brady goes back-to-back Super Bowls and he even wins one of them, then there's no discussion at that point. He's playing until he's 50. It's one of those things where if that happens, obviously that is the best-case scenario that this team had in mind when they signed a guy like Tom Brady. So the Buccaneers winning their second Super Bowl is huge, but the Bucs possibly winning, the year after that, or even just a Super Bowl appearance, if you've got a 44 to 45-year-old quarterback who is continually getting that done, then you're damn straight. I think if he came after 2 rings and told the Glazers that he wants to continue to play, then they're going to do whatever they want. They're going to bend over backwards, and Brady will be here and probably retire as the oldest active NFL quarterback in history. But it's just best case scenario. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good, man. So, look, man, a couple more things before I hang up and let somebody else get on this phone, because I know a lot of people want to talk. If I'm the Buccaneers manager, if I'm the general manager in the front office, I'm looking at the draft board right now, and I'm saying, where are we going to fall in the draft this year later on? And what do I want to draft? Do I want to draft a quarterback? Do I want to draft another offensive lineman? If I'm the Bucs, I'm drafting a quarterback this year. I'm going to put him behind Brady, let Brady pick his brain, challenge him, and give him the best opportunity to win. Because Jimmy Garoppolo is no Tom Brady. Brian Hoyer is no Tom Brady. And you're seeing that up in New England right now. You're seeing that in San Francisco. Jimmy Garoppolo is a system quarterback for Kyle Shanahan. Like he is a legitimate system quarterback. You can plug and play a lot of quarterbacks in Kyle Shanahan's system, and they will win games. Same thing with Bill Belichick's system. They're going to win 8-9 games this year. They won't win the playoffs. They won't make the playoffs most likely. But, you can plug and play a lot of quarterbacks, and they'll beat 6-7 teams a year. So if I'm your general manager, I'm thinking, I need to get somebody behind Brady to start learning, like another franchise quarterback. Not another Jameis, not another, freakishly athletic quarterback that can throw on the run all day, but doesn't have the mindset. If I'm the Bucs general manager, I'm going to find a smart pocket passer quarterback in college that makes good decisions. He's mature and he wants to win. Someone just like Tom Brady. Then you can develop him, mold him into whatever you want.
I'll tell you what. If I'm the Bucs GM, then I'm going to tell you that we've already technically got that guy on the roster. A lot of people forgot about it, but quarterback Josh Rosen is on the practice squad. And no, I'm not saying he's the successor, but that is a guy that, let's be honest, he didn't get a fair crack at being a starting quarterback in the NFL. He was drafted as a first-round pick to a pretty terrible Arizona team, an Arizona team that had the first overall pick the following season and drafted his replacement. And then he went to, where did he go? Miami, where he got shafted by Fitzmagic and really didn't get a shot. Like, I really think that, if you're going to have a guy sit behind Brady for however long he ends up playing, I think Josh Rosen is your biggest, the fact that he's already on your practice squad is really what makes it that much easier, because you don't have to spend a lot of capital on it. You have to, you don't have to sacrifice a first or a second round pick on a rookie quarterback that you have to sit and wait on. Josh Rosen is a guy who is hungry, who wants to start again in the NFL. He said that himself. And, I think he knows that it's best for his career. Now, let's say that everything goes the best case scenario that you had talked about not that long ago, where, Brady wins a ring and maybe shows up in another Super Bowl. Well, I don't know if Josh Rosen's going to sit around and wait for 2 or 3 years for Brady to wrap up before he gets his shot. But I think while he's here and, the Buccaneers have their chance to really just mold him into whatever they want him to be, I think it's a good situation for him to be in. And I think he could be that guy because, no, he's not freakishly athletic. He's not a scrambler. And from what we've seen, he's not exactly a risk taker like Jameis Winston was. But I think he could be that guy, and that's why I was really, really excited when they brought him in and had him on the practice squad. But if I had a choice, Rosen's that guy for me that you just brought up in that situation.
Okay, I got one more thing before I go, man. I got one more thing.
All good?
So, look, man, last one I promise. But, you've been following Arians throughout his entire career. He worked with Ben Roethlisberger. He worked with Peyton Manning. He works with, who else? Andrew Luck. He's always been a no risk, no biscuit kind of guy. He wants to go deep. He wants to take those big shots downfield. But you kind of see with Tom Brady, Arians is now learning more from a player than he's ever learned before. Besides maybe like, Antonio Brown or somebody like that, worked with him and showed him a couple things. Because Aaron was a quarterback in college. He wasn't a very successful quarterback in college, but he still understands.
Hey, he was a damn good scrambler, apparently. I heard him on the Dan Patrick show this week, and they brought up his wheels. He had like 11 rushing touchdowns one year.
Yeah, I heard about that too. But, Tom Brady's kind of helping Arians mold his mind to think, there's ways to win championships where you don't have to throw your quarterback in the pocket for 5 seconds or more and try to take shots downfield every single play and get these huge chunk plays. You're starting to see Arians start to use the tight ends more. He's starting to use his running game more, his running backs more, dump it off to the backfield, use the zones. He's starting to learn, you don't have to teach your quarterback to look from deep to shallow. You can go short, intermediate, deep, Yeah. And I just want to point that out. Over the next few years, you're going to see that transition from Arians, deep pass guy to like, hey, there's more than just wide receivers on the field. There's a tight end there. There's a running back there. You utilize him too when he teaches, whatever quarterback, that he's grooming underneath Tom Brady,
Yeah, and like you brought up, Arians with this offense and the way that we've seen it progress this season, there was an adjustment period. These guys had to get used to each other, and the chemistry had to go up. But when it comes to Excuse me, I blanked out really quick. Somebody else was calling. Let me drop that. But when it comes to I kind of lost track. I'm sorry. I had something pop up on the screen. But what I'm trying to say
you're good, man.
is that with the offense, yes, there was an adjustment period. You've seen a little bit more Ronald Jones, who with Leonard Fournette being out, he's got a little bit more pressure on himself, and he's definitely stepped up to the plate. But, what I was going to say, I apologize, but you brought it up. Tom Brady is the first quarterback that Arians has had that, like you said, he's learning a little bit from. And I think there's much more of an open communication between those two guys than there was for, let's just say, bring up last year, Jameis Winston. It doesn't feel like Arians has to fix Brady. He doesn't have to solve his problems for him. He's just there to help him. Brady's there to help him. Yep. They make each other's job easier, and we've heard both of them say that in their press conferences. So with Brady playing at the level that he is, there's not really anything you can say to the guy that he doesn't already know. Obviously, maybe there's some tweaks in this offense, some language to be figured out, but I have a feeling that by this time of the season, the professional that Tom Brady is, they have already got that tucked away, especially with the way that he has been playing. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation and a good situation for the Bucs to be in, because if you don't have to worry about your quarterback and his decision making, then obviously it's a really good thing. But I'm going to go ahead and open the phone lines back up. I really appreciate you calling all the way out there in Texas, my man.
Oh, man, no, I just found your stream the other night, so I'll make sure I tune in more to give calls and more. So, best luck to your stream, man. I'm going to be watching, I'm going to be supporting, so I'm rooting for y'all.
Hell yeah, I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you calling in. We're going to go ahead and open things up, but I'll talk to you later. Go Bucs.
Oh, yeah, man. Go Bucs.
See, he said he was a Patriots fan through and through. I got him to say go Bucs. How about that? Oh. We lost that one. Somebody tried to call in, and I guess it just happened. Hey, Rhett, it's sad that a non-Bucs fan is more excited for the Bucs than you are. Sheesh, lighten up, dude. Have you ever watched our show? Have you ever watched any episodes of our pod besides this live stream? Call from the 866. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Just transfer to Bluetooth quick. Can you hear me?
I think so. Now I can hear you a little better.
Okay, good. Now it's Kendall out in Cali.
Hey, what's going on, man? Out in Cali, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm shocked, and I really don't know what to think right now, because I'm happy we got, supposedly got AB, because they're not officially done yet, but I'm wondering if, the Bucs considered, I'm not trying to be funny, but, a psych evaluation. Because, he's had numerous issues, mental issues. So I don't know if they, tried to put that in the deal or, ask questions about it. I would think so.
We saw that, the only thing that really came out is that they agreed to terms. No contract details yet because Penn hasn't hit paper. I think he's still got to, pass those COVID tests. And then, of course, he can't actually step foot into one Buck until after week 8. So I'm not exactly sure when Penn hits paper, and maybe it's something that they did figure out, and it's just the details that we don't know as of right now. But it is kind of shocking, and I guess it's a detail that I'm curious to hear about as well. But the defense that I've heard from a lot of people is, well, he's been practically radio silent on social media, which means, he hasn't been distracted. Maybe he's been going to therapy, which I have to believe he's probably been to some sort of therapy at this point. But,
I would hope.
It's one of those things that, it's definitely shocking, and I hope that it was something that was discussed, because I don't know if that's something that you can go without.
Yeah. It's a great backup tool to have for the offense, but it's the question. Is it going to be distractions in the media? Because we're almost halfway through the season, and the Bucs are focused, playing lights out, and then this comes in, but we don't know how they're going to handle it. I don't want it to derail what we already got going on. That's what I'm scared of.
I think when you're a team in the championship highlight or the championship picture that the media wants to paint you in, it's up to the players and their discipline to not read too much into it. I'm sure that I would say most of these guys on the team are not turning on ESPN every single day to see what's being said about them, but we don't know that for a fact. All we know is that they have to do the best that they can to just not let it affect them. So if the media wants to take things like they've done in the past, especially with Antonio Brown, they're just going to have to learn to tune it out. And I think the Bucs, playing at the discipline level that they have done a pretty good job of it. I think most teams in the NFL, you have to be playing at a certain level of discipline to just block that stuff out. When you're 1-6, 1-7, 2-5, maybe you read into those press clippings a little bit, but when you're the Bucs, they've just got bigger things to worry about. Their sights are set on the Super Bowl, as we know, and I want to believe that most of them are mature enough to just kind of leave that stuff at home and not let it affect them on the field, which I don't think they have a shot at doing this season.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking my call. I love the show. Congrats on the Believe Network, joining that. Just thanks for everything. Look forward to more content from you guys.
Hey, I appreciate you a lot, man. Thank you so much for your support, and we're glad to have you listening all the way out there on the West Coast.
Thanks, man. Take care.
See you. 813-433-0323 is the number to call. I'm probably going to take 2 or 3 more phone calls and then wrap things up. I want to get some more thoughts from you guys, but here in the live chat really quick, folks getting real jealous of our team, y'all. Oh, I know. It's awesome when people are like, oh, how about your Bucs? Because that's never been said to me before in public ever. Like, I was at Epcot the other day, and I had my Tom Brady shirt on, and there were people, giving me kind of dirty looks, assuming I was a bandwagon. I don't give a damn. When they're playing winning football, it's a good feeling. The NFL has Brown on a short leash, and if he does anything, he's going to get in trouble. Arians probably has an even smaller one on him. Exactly. We talked about it earlier. AB needs the Bucs more than they need him. Seahawk fans couldn't sign Clowney, and now Brown. Is it the GM or the owner so cheap? Your thoughts? Hold on. Seahawk fans couldn't sign Clowney, and now Brown. Is it the GM or the owner so cheap? Your thoughts? I don't remember what happened with Clowney. I remember he wanted a ridiculous amount of money, and they weren't able to saddle it up. I think, honestly, I don't know if I would, blame the GM of the Seahawks for not being able to get Antonio Brown. I think the Bucs just kind of went under everybody's radar. Like, teams were interested. The Seahawks, I think, were the first reported team who was really going to try and pursue AB. And let's keep in mind, the contract is agreed to terms. There is no pen to paper. I think both sides like what they see, and I ultimately think AB ends up a buck at the end of the day. But if for whatever reason he doesn't sign with Tampa, well, he was scheduled to visit Seattle, so if it doesn't work out here, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it doesn't, he's still scheduled to go to Seattle. But honestly, I just think the Bucs got under everybody else, and they got ahead of it, and they were proactive in really getting that deal done. But apparently both sides like what they see, and as we're talking about here, they have agreed to terms, so AB expected to be a buck at this point. Everyone thinks since I'm from Boston, I'm a bandwagon. Oh, Rocco, we've talked about it. I get it, man. I'm a Ravens fan, but I'm a huge Brady fan, so call me a bandwagoner. By the way, 250 people in this live stream right now is pretty awesome, so thank you guys so much. If you're checking this out, and even if you're a Bucs fan or just a Brady fan, make sure you subscribe to our channel. We do a podcast. It's the Cannon Fire Podcast, but we've also got a ton more content. Every single week, we do a segment called The Bucs Break, which you can hear live on Tampa Bay Radio 1025 The Bone every Monday night at 10. We upload that with my good friend Johnny B. And we also do weekly hype videos, so if you like highlight videos or anything that just get your ass excited for the game, we drop those every single Friday. And of course, if you don't have time to listen on YouTube, you can always check us out on any major podcast platform as well. But if you're not subscribed, make sure you do it and you click that bell icon so you can get notified every single time we go live and upload an episode. Hit the like button, people. CFP, great episodes. Hey, I appreciate you, my man. Bucs blocking tight end. I know you on Twitter. I just don't remember your Twitter handle. Clinging on to hope. You have to at this point, right? So you're telling me there's a chance the Hawks sign AB. Oh, that's what you were saying. There is a tiny, tiny chance. There is like, I think the percentage of the Bucs signing Antonio Brown was the percentage that the Falcons had when they were up 28-3 in the Super Bowl. And if it just doesn't go according to plan, then, he's probably going to go to Seattle. At least he had, a visit scheduled. Greetings from San Diego. Hell yeah, more West Coast listeners. Appreciate you guys. Where's Evan? Evan called in at the beginning. He's normally not available for these call-in shows, but we had a good 20-minute conversation at the top of the show. So this will actually be a podcast episode that's uploaded, so you guys can listen to that a little bit later to hear me and Evan's conversation. This is the power of Brady. You have dibs on everything. Yeah, I think when you've got Tom Brady, it definitely helps. You know, if he wants something done, chances are it's going to get done a little bit faster than another quarterback. Bucs fan in South Texas. There we go, man. Big call out of the 904. Here we go. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from? Hello? Yep, he hung up. I could hear the pod in the background. I just don't know if he didn't know he was on the phone. All right, one last call before we wrap things up. 813-433-0323 for the Cannon Fire Hotline show. Really had a lot of fun with this one, man. I was pissed off about the move at first, and yeah, I'm a realist. Like it or not, he's here, and we have to deal with it. But, you know, the more time I've spent thinking about it and some of the conversations I've had with the people who call in, I do feel a little bit better about it in some degree. Here we go. I think it's the same caller. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Georgia, and yeah.
Well, what's going on, man? How you doing? Okay. He hung up. Our caller from Georgia hung up. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
My name is Madan Soka, and I'm in California.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I am doing good.
That's good.
All right. One more call. If somebody wants to, call in and then just breathe into the phone, we'll probably wrap things up. But 813-433-0323. Lobello, Bucs fan from Florida, but Brady and Gronk were always my favorite players to watch throughout the years. Now seeing everyone in the Buccaneers is mind-blowing. I'll tell you the coolest aspect of it to me is I grew up in a house of Patriots fans. I watched Tom Brady my first season watching football. I watched Tom Brady in the 16-0 New England Patriots lose to the Giants. And I watched every Tom Brady Super Bowl after that because, like I said, my stepdad and my mom were both huge Patriots fans. So I've always been a Brady fan. I've always had respect for him, and in my opinion, he's always been the greatest, so having him in Tampa is a great thing. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from? Alrighty. I think that's going to do it. I'm not sure why phone calls aren't working. I don't know if it's people just fucking with me. I don't know if it's something on my end, but if we get one more call between now and the end of the show, then I'll try my best to answer it. Here we go. CFP, what's your name? Where are you calling in from?
Yo, it's Ethan from Brevard, Florida.
Ethan, what's going on, my friend?
Bro, what's up, Rhett?
I'm doing good, bro. I'm glad that I actually got a caller wanting to talk to me. I don't know if you heard, but like the last 4 people that called in had nothing to say to me.
I know, I saw that. I was trying to call in.
Well, I appreciate you getting in, and you're probably going to wrap things up, but I'm excited about this one. So what's on your mind, friend? How you feeling?
Dude, I am going insane right now about this AB news.
like a good insane or like a shocked, still kind of taking it all in insane?
Both, but glad.
Yeah. So
I
what?
don't know how to.
Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know how to feel though. I don't know how to feel about, like how maybe Godwin will feel. I know he's, pro's pro, but I don't know how he'll feel. I know Mike's going to be straight with it. I know Gronk's going to be cool with it. But, like, guys like Godwin and Tyler Johnson and Scotty and Justin Evans, they might be a little salty,
Right. No, I get it, man. But, like you said, pro's a pro. And I think at this point in the season, all of these guys are committed. And I think they're bought in. I don't even know so much that these players care about, their numbers. They don't care if they get the receiving stats or the 1,000 yards. Like, I'm sure it'd be cool for Mike to get that record, but he could care less. As long as the Bucs make the playoffs and, they have their sights set on a Super Bowl, that's all they're focused on. But it's a maturity factor for sure. And it can be hard. We talk about a maturity factor with any team in the NFL. Look at Miami and what they just did to Ryan Fitzpatrick. He is as mature and as much of a team player as they come. And he came out and said that his heart was broken by Miami wanting to start Tua. So I have to imagine maybe there are some certain feelings, but when you're this far into the season and you're committed, all of these guys have a common goal. And I think that they're going to look at each other and just say, you know what? We kind of have to put our feelings aside about how we feel about this person and go out there and try our best to win a damn ring. And I think that's what everybody in the red and pewter has in mind as well.
Right. It's got to be a total team effort now. Like, we're not going to see Grayson anymore. We're not going to see, what's his name, the punt returner, but we're going to see AB getting those targets now. It's freaking insane.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, we talked about earlier, if everything goes according to plan, then this is potentially one of the greatest offenses of all time. I mean, it's, you know, it just gets to a point where you have to look at it and it's like, who are you going to block? You know what I mean? If you've got Chris Godwin in the slot, Antonio Brown on the outside, Mike Evans, and I mean, hell, if you want to go 4 wide, you got Scotty Miller out there who's just as much of a deep threat. It is a scary-looking football team with Tom Brady under center. Granted, he's over 40. He's playing like he's damn near 34, 35. I mean, he is playing pretty well. He has adjusted damn well to this Tampa Bay offense, and you know, it's really good to see. And I'll tell you what my favorite part of all of it is. It looks like Brady is having fun. Like, he's out there smiling with his guys. And yeah, you're going to smile when you win football games, but Brady is having fun in Tampa Bay. He is basically, he's getting his cake and eating it too. And, you know, somebody in the live chat said it for me, but this Bucs offense is absolutely stacked. And, you know, I'm excited to see where they go from here.
Yeah, better than Madden. Like, I can't even do this on Madden right now. Like,
exactly. Man.
I'm also wondering what you think. Do you think Rojo cares at all? Like, because that's another, you know, they might want to start running it more. And Fournette's coming back, and Shady's all right. So, I mean, everybody's all right now. It's going to be kind of crazy to see how they get everybody the ball that first Saints game, I guess.
Oh, most definitely. But, you know, I'll tell you this. I don't think that Ronald Jones is too worried about a signing of Antonio Brown. You know, he's worried about getting his carries. And after 3 straight 100-yard games, you know, I'm sure he is a little bit more worried about getting his carries than he is targets to Antonio Brown. But, you know, with that being said as well, while we're talking about Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette coming back, he's going to be good to go for Sunday. You know, I don't think it hurts Ronald Jones. I think maybe they still ride the hot hand, and maybe you see a little bit more of Ronald Jones early. And I'd like to see them commit to him a little bit more because we have seen him perform. But here's the thing, you know, Ronald Jones is the type of guy where I think he works better with a limited workload. And no, I don't mean 50-50 carries. I think he should get the majority of the carries. But if you don't have to have LaShawn McCoy on 3rd down and you can throw Leonard Fournette in there, and let's say Ronald Jones is at 80 yards in the 3rd quarter, he's tired, then that means that the defense of the other team is tired. Throw Leonard Fournette in there who's fresh and let him wrap things up. You know, that's what we saw against Carolina. That's what worked pretty well. And I think that, you know, while Rojo has absolutely been productive, I don't know if he's super worried about it. The reintroduction of Leonard Fournette, I'd like to see him get a little bit more involved in the passing game, but I think it can really only mean good things. Now, if they go back to 50-50 carries, then maybe we'll talk about it again after the game, but until I see it in action, with the way Ronald Jones has been performing, I feel like they have a plan and they don't want to disrupt him too much, but, you know, for me personally, I just have to wait and see.
Right, I agree, dude. It's going to be crazy.
Absolutely. Anything else, my friend, before I let you go here?
No, man, I'm just glad I caught you, bro. I was just hopping on YouTube to see if anyone was going live and saw you were live, so I decided to call in first time.
Hey, well, I appreciate it a ton, man, and the support means a lot, so glad you're able to catch us here for the tail end of the stream. But yeah, we are pretty damn excited about this Antonio Brown news. Love it or hate it, he is a Buck, so we just have to see what happens from here, man.
I love it. Go Bucks.
Yes, sir. Go Bucks. I'll talk to you soon. Alrighty, guys. That is going to wrap things up for the CF Hotline show. The line is closed, but I did want to bring up one more thing. Somebody in the live chat had talked about the offensive line. Listen, the offensive line played a damn near perfect game against Green Bay. We're going to get more calls. No more calls. I know everybody's going to call. No more calls, but that's going to wrap things up for the CF Hotline show. I appreciate everybody listening, tuning into the show, everybody who was subscribed. Oh, dude, I'm going to be blocking these for the rest. People are so mad. Oh, man. I appreciate everybody calling in who did. I really do appreciate you guys supporting the show, and there is nothing that means more to the people who came in, chimed in, called in, of course, who were able to connect and subscribed on YouTube as well. But with that all being said, that's just about going to do it for this episode of the Cannon Fire Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check us out on any of the podcast outlets if you want to listen over there. We're going to be dropping a show on Monday after the Raiders game. We'll talk a little bit more about the Antonio Brown details, if there are any. Shout out to my co-host Evan for calling in at the beginning of the show. I appreciate him getting some awesome insight once again. And once again, guys, follow the show on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All of those are Cannon Fire Podcast. Best place to go for updates on the show. And, of course, Buccaneer news as it happens. Over 300 viewers on this live stream to wrap things up. I really do appreciate you guys. So excited to see what this team can do from here. And we'll talk to you then. We'll talk to you Monday, actually. Appreciate you listening. Subscribe to the channel. And go Bucs.